Hey y'all, so welcome back to the second episode of Boss Up Hustler podcast. I want to say first, thank you so much for tuning in. And if this is your second time coming back, welcome back. So if you don't already know, my name is Naraya. But I just want to give you like a brief introduction as to like what we do here, what we talk about. So really, this channel is for dreamers, right? So on my channel banner, you will see birth and visionaries, dreamers into visionaries, right? So this channel is really for those who have big visions, have big goals that God has given them or put in their heart, but people who need the tools and the resources to know how to get there, right? So many of us, we have these big goals, we have these big dreams, whatever it is, but many times we don't know how to get there. And we don't have the proper understandings and the knowledge of what it takes to get there. So Boss Up Hustler really was created to help you guys do that, and as well as myself. So, I'm going to jump right into the second episode. If you have not seen the first one, I do encourage you to go and watch the first one. I'm going to try to like link it up here if I can figure out how to do that. If I can't, it'll definitely be in the description. But please make sure you watch that one just so you understand like who I am, what this channel is about, because the first episode really kind of lays the groundwork for the next episodes. So, as you guys can tell from the title, I'm really going to be talking about in this episode that you have the power to rewrite your story. So one of the main things really, when it comes to really breaking through glass ceilings, birthing out visions, living these beautiful, beyond extraordinary lives, achieving dreams, goals, and aspirations, there are certain key understandings that everybody must have. There's certain frameworks that you must have if you are going to birth out certain visions. And today I'm going to introduce one of the first ones. So the first one is life is really what you decide to make it. Again, I'm going to say it one more time, but life is what you decide to make it. So on this channel, for me, the way I do things is I'm not the type of person that really likes people just throwing out ideas and they don't give you the receipts, they don't give you the proof to basically back up their claim. So what I do here is I'm going to give you ideas. Like I said from the first one, we're going to give you lessons, but I'm going to show you how that lesson basically is true. So if y'all see me looking here, it's because I have my notes here. And I just want to make sure that I don't forget to say anything. So the first thing that you must understand is that God has given every human being, every single human being, whether you are saved or not, the power to ultimately decide your fate. And when I'm talking, I really want you to be able to like tune in and really listen to what I'm saying. Ignore the things that you believed and the things that you thought were true. Because now I'm going to give you the truth. I'm not speaking from my own resources. I'm going to tell you what the Bible says. And so what we must understand is that life is really determined by us. Every human being, God has given the ability and the power to shape their own lives. So many times we look at external things, maybe what has happened to us in the past, um, maybe the neighborhood that we grew up in, um, maybe the lack of maybe what we can and cannot do. And we start to say, oh, these things are the reason why I can't get here. I can't do this. It's not. Ultimately, how far you go in life, whether you succeed or fail, is ultimately up to you. It has nothing to do with everything that's going on around you. It has nothing to do with the external things. It has everything to do with what you decide and how you decide to respond to those things. I do want to make sure that when I'm saying these things, I'm not disregarding some of the things that people have been through. I have my own story. Like I said, maybe one day I'll share it. But over the years, as I've overcame my own past, my own story, um, some of the things, negative things that has happened to me, a lot of things, some of it was out of my control. A lot of it, some of the stuff God allowed to happen. Ultimately, what he showed me is that I put you in the driver's seat to determine how far you're going to go in life. Those things can't define you. Those things don't even have that much power, but we give it so much power. We give it so much power because we focus so much on it. We give it so much power because we lack the proper knowledge. So today I'm going to give you that knowledge so that you can stop giving all of these other things so much power to dictate where you go, so much power to cloud your vision and make you feel like you have to succumb to whatever is happening to you, or you have to be what others have said you are, right? That's another thing, right? I'm gonna go off on a little side note, but so many times for us, like depending on who you are, people have already labeled you. They've already said what you're gonna be, what you're not gonna be, and we internalize those words and we use it as a map. But you have to understand when stuff like that happens and it does not align with the word, you have to understand who's speaking. I don't care who the person in the body is, but you have to understand who's speaking at that moment. At that moment, is Satan speaking, right? The Bible says in Ephesians 6 and 12 that we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against spirits and principalities. So many times the enemy will use people to proclaim and speak certain things over us. His hope is that you will take those words, internalize them, and believe them. And whatever you believe, you end up birthing out, right? Whatever you internalize, you end up moving in alignment with it. So he uses words to try to script your life, to try to tell you where you're going to go. So many of us sometimes are bound by words and what somebody has said about us. But today, I am again going to show you, you got to stop living by that. At the end of the day, that stuff does not have that much power. You're giving it more power than really what it really has. So the first verse that I'm going to go to is Proverbs 4:23. I'm going to read this from the NKJV version, but for y'all, I really highly encourage you to read it from the NLT. That's the easier version. But it says, "Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it springs the issues of life." So basically, when you kind of break down this verse and make it super simple, what he's saying is guard your mind because it's determining the course of your life. Guard your mind because it's determining the course of your life. So two things I want to highlight here. The first of them is that he's saying that our lives are ultimately determined by what's going on up here. Number two, he's also saying that it's your responsibility to control that thing. In other words, I put you in the driver's seat to determine your life, to determine how far you go in life, to determine the course of your life. One of those ways I put you in the driver's seat is through your mind, right? I created your mind and put so much power in your own mind that it ultimately can shape where you go in life. The main thing that I want you to get from this verse is that he's saying that it's our responsibilities, that really ultimately the course of our life is determined by what we allow in our mind, what kind of knowledge we obtain, what we meditate on, what we focus on. That's ultimately up to us. Then the other thing too is that now I want to get into this piece about our environments. And I kind of touched on it earlier, but a lot of times our instinct is to say, well, I never seen this person do it because I grew up around them and they never did it before. Or I always seen everybody do this, so I just kind of did it. So when you're trying to boss up, you have to have this mentality of life is going to be what I decide to make it. I choose not to live according to the pattern of everybody else. I'm not willing to live like everybody else. Bossing up is saying, I'm not a slave, right? I'm not following trends. I'm going to do what's best for me. I'm going to do that God thing. Whatever God says is bomb. Whatever God says is right. Whatever God says is the proper thing to do. That's what I'm doing. I'm okay with being different. I'm not a follower. I'm a trendsetter. That's what, when you have a boss up mentality, is I'm not a follower. I'm a trendsetter. I don't just follow efficiency. I create my own path. I create my own lane. I don't let everything around me tell me who I am. I let God tell me who I am, and I let the visions that He's given me influence where I can go in life. But so many of us don't do that, right? We let, oh, if I grew up in this poverty area, I'll just give you my example. I grew up in Georgia, y'all. Like, I'm originally from Atlanta, like kind of Riverdale area. And when I was growing up, like, you did not really see like Black people like thriving. Like, I'm talking about like owning businesses, multimillionaires, things of that nature. You didn't see that. You just saw people going back and forth to work, to school, um, like just kind of living mediocre. And so what God had to do with me was show me better, right? He had to send, without me going into details, he basically had to show me better through videos, through other people. He had to show me that there was much more to life than what I saw. And so, what I want to highlight here too is that many of us, we put that power in our environment to shape where we're going in life. But again, that is a personal choice. You don't have to let your environment, what somebody else said about you, what you've only seen, shape where you go. That's really up to you. You decide if you're going to do that. So in Romans 12 and 2, it says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God." This verse is basically just saying, yo, like, the power is in your hands. Like, he's saying, you don't have to conform. You don't have to become like everybody else around you. You can choose a different path and ultimately become something better. What I really wanted to home in is that as we're in this process of bossing up and becoming the best version of ourselves, I no longer want any of us to allow the outside world, I don't care who it is, what it is, to tell us who we're going to be and where we're going to go. I no longer want us pointing the finger and blaming everybody else and acting like they have so much authority over where we go. Proverbs 4 and 23 shows us that we give them that power. Romans 12 and 2 lets us know that you can break free from those cycles. You can become whatever it is that you want. Those things really don't have as much power as you give them. And so normally, like at the end of kind of every episode, I give you like a kind of reflection question. The last episode there was like two, which I hope y'all did. But this episode, I do have kind of like an ending reflection to kind of just pull everything together. So the reflection that I have is close your eyes and imagine yourself driving. So you're gonna close your eyes and imagine yourself driving in the car. What I want you to do is see yourself in the driver's seat. The highway you're driving on is called life. See yourself in that driver's seat. See yourself at crossroads, at turning sections. Ultimately, this is the main point of what I'm saying. I need you to be able to visualize it, because once you can visualize what I'm saying, this is how the truth and what God is saying ultimately gets deeper in our heart when you're able to visualize it. So remember, it's you're driving. The highway you're driving on is called life. You're in the car. You're not in the passenger seat, but you're in the driver's seat. See yourself in the driver's seat. So that is all that I have for y'all. I'm gonna be dropping new videos every single Friday. And I will see y'all on the next episode.